Hi, my name is Ray Naylor, and this is the Performing Songwriter. My guest today is Tom Kimmel. Tom is both an established songwriter, a polished performer, a published poet, and a songwriting teacher. His songs have been recorded by a host of major artists, including Linda Ronstadt, Johnny Cash, Joe Cooker, Art Garfunkel, Kathy Mattea, and Randy Travis. He has toured with Nancy Griffith and was winner of the New Folk Song Contest at the Kerrville Folk Festival. If that isn't enough, Tom's songs have been included in a number of movies and TV shows. Of Tom Kimmel, the Los Angeles Times stated, "Rich melodies and fervent delivery." I'll be right back with Tom, and we'll hear a number of his songs. Tom, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
And, you're one of my favorite songwriters. In fact, you may be my favorite songwriter.
Oh, my God. That's pressure.
I just did an introduction of you, and I wanted to ask you, what made you want to become a songwriter?
Well, I don't think I really wanted to become a songwriter exactly. It was more like I just started writing, I teach a lot these days, and sometimes I have people who come to my classes who say they want to write, and I really appreciate that, and I support that as much as possible. But I think there are also those of us who we just write. It just comes out. Then we have to learn something about, the craft of it. But initially, I think, like I was just listening to this young poet, Irish poet, named Leanne O'Sullivan. She's quite remarkable, and she was published as a teenager and got a lot of acclaim. Billy Collins, well-known U.S. poet, former poet laureate, just went crazy about her, and I understand. She just started writing. So you start writing, and then it's like, oh my God, I guess I'm a writer.
We have a songwriting topic every time we do one of these shows. And normally we talk about the craft of songwriting, which probably more than just about most people, you have the knowledge and experience. But I'm going to actually ask a little different question.
Okay.
As I said in the introduction, your songs have been covered by a number of people, and as well as on movies and TV. And I would think most songwriters would love to have someone well-known cover one of their songs, and of course most of us don't. But for somebody that really wants to give that a shot, what are some things they ought to think about in terms of how do I get to these people, so forth and so on?
Well, it's so different now than the way it was when I started out. And it's a tough question. It's a good question, but it's a really tough question because the world of artists who cover other people's songs has shrunk a good bit. It's for example, back in the 80s and 90s when most of my songs were being recorded by people, you would have, say, a Joe Cocker or Linda Ronstadt who were going to make an album, and they didn't write songs, so they're looking for lots of songs. And so, number one, there's slots available on quality albums. And then, number two, during those years, I worked with a publisher or different ones over the years, and it was my job to give them whatever I wrote here. And what do you think? And then if they loved it, then they'd say, God, I think this would be a good song for so-and-so. And so then they would do the presentation. And sometimes it happened in a roundabout way, and sometimes it happened in a real direct way. Like, I'm going to sit down and play this for her producer or his producer. Or, I know that artist. I'm going to call him up and see if I could play him this song. So in a lot of ways, that was a people business, in the same way that lots of businesses are. I mean, you make personal relationships. But I think now there are fewer and fewer of those artists who cover songs. So it's a tough thing. There are more opportunities in film and TV, I think, than there used to be, more than ever, because there's so many channels and so many shows and so many slots to fill for music. But that's a different story, and it's hard to be concise about it. I'd like to be, but it still comes down to a networking type of thing.
Tom, in terms of networking, what are some ways that people might want to think about doing that?
Well, one of the ways is to find your community of people and begin building relationships. And one of the places that I suggest to my students that we begin looking now is organizations like the Songwriters Guild and the Nashville Songwriters Association, because there's a huge collection of people who want the same things. And so there's also lots of information that's available through those organizations about how to network and how to do it in a way that is sensitive to what's available. A small example is I've gone to the Nashville Film Festival several times, and there have been panels on writing for film and TV. It's just sort of a customary, that's one afternoon, there's going to be a panel on writing for film and TV. You can actually meet these people. You can get their cards. You can ask them how do they like to have songs submitted. And they'll say, I prefer an MP3 to this address. And make sure you know what the film is about, and here's how to do it. You can go to this magazine like Variety or Hollywood Reporter or Music Connection, and so when you take a shot, you make sure it really counts. But the other way of preparing ourselves and getting familiar with how the whole thing works is just by looking at what's readily available for us online. And I like the ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC websites because they give their members a lot of information. At the ASCAP website, for example, there's a book that's made available called Music, Money, and Success by Todd and Jeffrey Brabeck, their brothers. And it's a phenomenal book. Of course, you can buy it at a bookstore or online, or you can get the Kindle book and all that. But you know, first of all, it's like buying a car. You need to know a little bit about how the whole thing works, or you won't be able to participate in a way that's to your advantage.
And then, like Nashville has a songwriters organization.
Yeah, the Nashville Songwriters Association International is a fantastic organization. It provides a lot of services for its members, including a wealth of information. And there's a woman in Nashville who named Barbara Cloyd, Barbara Cloyd, and she has a website that has a lot of information for writers that are coming to Nashville to check out the scene. And I recommend checking out her website, regardless of whether you're into country music. I'm not primarily a country writer, but still Nashville is much more diverse than it once was. It's ironic because I spent 36 years there, and then 2 years ago I moved down to Tupelo, Mississippi. Really, I like to say I moved down here to take care of my mother, but I had just gotten divorced and I had an apartment that wasn't quite ready, and I was taking a group of fans to Ireland, and I had to get out of the house. My ex-wife was gently encouraging me to get the hell out, and I came down to Tupelo, and then my mother got ill, and I ended up being her caregiver for a year and a half, and she passed away this past November. So Nashville's just exploding, more than ever, and I'm living in Mississippi, but it's nice in a way. I was there for so long. It's nice. I can still go there as often as I want to or need to, but I'm kind of liking the perspective of looking from the outside a little bit.
Tom, we're going to have you do 2 songs.
So we were talking about covers and getting songs recorded by other artists, and one of the ones that I'm proudest of, I guess you could say, or this I've gotten the most satisfaction out of, is a song I wrote with my first wife, Jennifer Kimball, called The Blue Train. And it was first recorded by my favorite Irish singer, Maura O'Connell, who I just adore. And then Linda Ronstadt heard it and recorded it, and then put it on an album with Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris. So it was wonderful hearing those renditions. This is the way I do it by myself, and it's called the Blue Train. Watching the long faces riding this rundown track, and the lost places from a dream that never brings them back. And the sad truth is nothing but a cold hard fact. I'm riding the blue train over the miles yet to cover, a ghost in a hurry to fade. I'm taking it one way to nowhere, afraid you might be there to find me inside this blue train. Counting the burned bridges, trailing this rusted wreck as our back pages scatter in the dust we left like a pearl necklace falling from around your neck. I'm riding the blue train over the miles yet to cover, a ghost in a hurry to fade. I'm taking it one way to nowhere, afraid you might be there to find me inside this blue train. All the way down the road, a ticket to an empty room, a rendezvous unknown. I'm riding the blue train over the miles yet to cover, a ghost in a hurry to fade. And I'm taking it one way to nowhere, afraid you might be there to find me inside this blue train. So that's the Blue Train, and I'll play you a song that I'm about to record that I wrote in Denmark with a Danish writer named Klaus Caprani. Written several songs with Klaus. I've spent a lot of time in Denmark. I love it over there. And this song, I guess it doesn't need much of an introduction besides that. It's called No One Gets to Heaven If Anybody Else Is Left Behind. Last night I dreamed my daddy woke me up and took me by the hand and walked me down the hill and through the woods to where a little chapel stands. And everyone we knew was there, and they all seemed so happy we came back. The deacon shook our hands and then he led us to a seat beside the aisle. The preacher started talking and everybody leaned in close. He said, there is a light in the dark when we need it the most. And there is a way through this world if we keep this in mind. No one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind. No one gets to heaven if anyone is lost along the way. And it's so easy to doubt it, so now let us join hands and pray. We'll meet on that beautiful shore in the sweet by and by. And no one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind. Sang Rock of Ages like we'd been to that place. Well, we sang Peace in the Valley, and Lord, we sang I'll Fly Away. And when we raised up our voices, we sounded like angels on high, singing no one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind. No one gets to heaven if anyone is lost along the way. And it's so easy to doubt it, so now let us join hands and pray. On that beautiful shore in the sweet by and by. And no one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind. No one gets to heaven if anybody else is left behind.
I like that.
Thank you.
You know, you've been writing songs for a long time. Do you ever have a hard time anymore coming up with a new idea?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I went through a pretty dry period there last year. I didn't write very much. It was a big period of adjustment. It was a year after I had gotten divorced, which was a big thing, and then moved right into caring for my ailing elderly mother, and cared for her up until she died. I was with her when she died. It was so. I think maybe experiences like that sow some seeds, some seeds that'll bear fruit later. But I find it hard to write when I'm in a lot of emotional turmoil. But I do feel now like I'm kind of waking back up creatively. I've been writing some, and I was working on a song yesterday. It's close. It's close. In fact, there's several. One of the things I've been doing as I prepare to do a new album is seeing what I've got in the hopper, that might work. I've piled up quite a few songs that I haven't recorded, so part of it's seeing what do I feel now, what am I relating to, and then also stylistically, what's going to hang together for an album. I've been guilty in the past of sometimes making albums where I call them Noah's Ark albums, 2 of every kind of song. So I'd like for this one to have some cohesive character to it, if possible.
We always have a performing topic, and I wanted to ask you, you've been playing for a good number of years, and you've performed in front of all kind of audiences, anywhere from, I assume, big festivals to house concerts.
Yeah.
And over that time, what have you learned about performing that could be helpful for the rest of us?
Well, I think a couple of things that come to mind. And one is be prepared, and that is, practice and be facile with what you're going to do. I've got a big body of work, and sometimes I'll pull something out that I haven't practiced lately, and I'm more likely to falter on something like that. Not that I don't do it, especially in a relaxed kind of house concert setting. But 2 nights ago, I played in the Symphony Hall here in Tupelo, Mississippi, and it's a big room, and it was full. It was for a Mississippi Public Broadcasting statewide broadcast radio show. It's kind of like a Mississippi version of Prairie Home Companion. It's a house band and all that. And it's usually broadcast from Oxford, but this one was from Tupelo for the first time, and the show's been on the air for 16 or 17 years. So, I had 2 short segments to play of about 12 minutes, and I wanted to make sure I was ready. So I really thought about it and planned the set list and practiced those songs. Then I could go up and be myself and relax and enjoy playing the songs. And that's the second part is, I think I have to remind myself sometimes, and I remind my students sometimes, the audience wants to like you. They really like you. They want to like you. They're there hoping to like you. And all you have to do is show up and be you. And if you show up and be you and speak clearly, let them hear what you have to say. Get up on the microphone. Don't ramble too much, but share. And I think that was a big shift for me in my own performing, is when I realized I'm not trying to prove anything. I have something to share.
Okay. I'd like to hear your last 2 songs, Tom.
Yeah. I'll play another one that you might be familiar with, and then I'll play another newer one too. Let's see. This. What shall we do for the first one? I'll tell you what I'd like to play. I just repressed my first indie album. It's a live album called Bones, and Blue Train was on it. And I went back and listened to it for the first time in years. Really listened to it the way I would listen to somebody else's album, and it felt so good. I remember those were all. The recordings were from a special night at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, and a special night I had at a South by Southwest in in Austin at a club that's sadly not there anymore called Chicago House. And all but two of the tracks were from those 2 evenings. Although I recorded about 40 shows, which is ironic. You know, I had all these shows, but there were these 2 evenings where the sound felt good and the audience was warm and the performances were there. So this is another song I wrote around the time that I wrote The Blue Train, and I also wrote this with Jennifer Kimball. And I think of it as a country song. It's never been recorded by a country artist, but it's about a particular form of jealousy, and it's called History. Moon rising slow, and I know you're not sleeping. Whose story troubles your mind? Somebody told you of someone before you, someone I loved for a time. Baby, that's history. Baby, that's history. Just the way it used to be, and not how it is. It doesn't mean a thing to me, and if ever it did, baby, that's history. Water under the bridge. Some things about her I'll always remember, and some I've forgotten somewhere on the way. I love you now, and I'll love you tomorrow. We can't change yesterday. Baby, that's history. Baby, that's history. Just the way it used to be, and not how it is. It doesn't mean a thing to me, and if ever it did, baby, that's history. Water under the bridge. So tell me now, what's the past to us today? But memory, baby, that's history. History, baby, that's history. Just the way it used to be, and not how it is. It doesn't mean a thing to me, and if ever it did, baby, that's history. Water under the bridge. Baby, that's history. Water under the bridge. I've always liked that song. So this next song is a song I actually wrote it a few years ago, but I've never recorded it, and just lately I've been performing it in most of my shows, and definitely recording it for this new album. Wrote this with my dear friend John Smith, and it's called We Got It Right This Time. Frost on the cornfield, pumpkin on the vine. candle in the window, waiting on the stars to shine. Geese call in the distance, like some choir way up there. Wood is up for winter, and the burley's in the barn. Gonna need an extra blanket, you can feel it in the air. And baby, we got it right this time. Baby, we got it right this time. Ain't no ocean between us, ain't no mountain to climb. Baby, we got it right this time. We got it right this time. Laughter through a doorway echoes down the road, closer every minute, and the minutes slipping by like the tears of jealous angels. I'll be there before you know it, baby. We got it right this time. Baby, we got it right this time. Ain't no ocean between us, ain't no mountain to climb. Baby, we got it right this time. We got it right this time. Throw some gravel on this road and call it a highway. Put up a sign and call this a town. Put up a dream and try calling it someday. What are you doing? You're living it now. Baby, we got it right this time. Baby, we got it right this time. Ain't no ocean between us, ain't no mountain to climb. Baby, we got it right this time. We got it right this time. We got it right this time.
Nice.
Thank you, Ray.
You also teach songwriting.
Yeah.
And what looks like you have various places, like you'll do it with a group, you do it online. Talk a little bit about that, and if somebody's interested, what should they do?
Well, a couple of ways they can find out when I'm teaching. My tour schedule's posted at my website, tomkimmel.com. And I also do a monthly newsletter with my tour schedule. And this past newsletter, I had a special section on workshops where I'm teaching in the next year. I have not been doing a lot of one-on-one. Did it for a while, and I wasn't enjoying it as much as I do the workshop setting, especially a retreat setting where you really get away from, the everyday life. I've lucked into a situation now where I'm teaching an annual retreat by myself at a lodge in North Carolina. It's called Doe Branch Inc., and done that the last 2 years, and it's just a joy. I'll be doing it again next June. But I may start doing some one-on-one stuff again. And people talk to me about webinars and things like that, so I'm open to it. I want to put a book together. I've been teaching for enough years now. I've got reams of notes and class descriptions and handouts and all that. So I would like to. I would like to get a book together at some point. I really enjoy sharing what's been valuable to me. And I'm so grateful that I had mentors when I was getting started, and even along the way now, I still learn, from other writers. I was teaching at a workshop in Florida, the annual Positive Music retreat that's sponsored by Empower Music and Arts. And Freebo, bass player, singer-songwriter, was sitting in on my class. We like to sit on each other's classes, all the teachers, because we steal things. And we learn things. And Freebo, something I said, he said, well, that would be Steve Seskin's rule of two. I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, Seskin says, if you do something that's pleasing, repeat it, because the listener unconsciously wants to hear it again. But then after you've done it twice, step away from it and do something different before you come back to it. And I went, oh yeah, that's the best. And so here I've been, writing all these years, but that's something that I've been more conscious of. Of course, I was doing it already, but now I can share it, and I also am more conscious of doing it in my own work. If I'm beginning to get a little bored with something, I'll stop and think, maybe I could throw something in on the third line here and then come back to it, So it's an ongoing, lifelong learning process, no question about it.
Okay. So you have tomkimmel.com.
Yep.
Any other, do you have a YouTube channel?
There are. I don't have a YouTube channel. I need somebody to show me how to set that up. It's funny. I'm very technically proficient in some ways. I record in my own studio, and when I did the Waymore's album, one of the trios I work with, I engineered the whole album in my studio in Nashville. But at the same time, I need somebody to show me how to set up a YouTube channel or how to tweet properly and all that stuff. So I guess I'm just direct my attention where it's absolutely required, but there's a lot of room for growth when it comes to taking advantage of technology and social networking.
Okay, before we close out here, I want to talk about the next show I'm going to have. And there's a guy up here in Jersey called Norman Taylor. He's a songwriter, but he also plays some of the old blues stuff. And we've had to reschedule him about 4 times. So I'm almost positive this next time is going to work.
Great.
I just wanted to let people know.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a couple weeks. Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Ray. I really enjoyed it. You're a terrific interviewer, and I've enjoyed some of your other interviews that I've watched as well.
Okay, well, thank you.
Hope everybody will enjoy listening.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Okay.